Louis is not like the other kids. Now, he's about to meet some friends who are not like anyone at all.
Well, I hope you know how to put it back together.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
In today's podcast, we're covering a more obscure film, an animated movie called Louis and the Aliens.
Now, this movie showed up one day for free on Hulu, and we were surprised to see it was actually a really fun watch, even though we knew nothing about it. So, we're going to explain why we think you should watch it too. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, with occasionally some future podcasts and one of Paws videos.
Thank you for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos, and so much more. We really appreciate all you do.
Yes.
So, if you're like us and you know nothing about this, Louis and the Aliens was released in 2018, and it's a science fiction comedy film written and directed by Christoph and Wolfgang Lowenstein and directed by Sean McCormick.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually premiered at the Luxembourg City Film Festival in March of that year and was released in Germany in May.
Okay.
Didn't come to us until August of that same year.
Oh,
and
wow.
in UK in August as well.
Okay.
There was actually a sequel that we've never heard of either.
Nope, never knew we even had one.
That came out in 2022. But unfortunately, this movie did not make an impression on anybody anywhere, so you probably can't even see the sequel.
It wasn't even really lucky like Son of Bigfoot, where it actually ended up gaining enough popularity to get a Netflix sequel.
True.
So for this movie, it's a little bit of a silly premise, but we're used to those, where you have this boy and his father, and the father is supposed to be a quote-unquote scientist who said he's seen aliens back when he was a kid, and he spent his entire life since then trying to prove to people that the aliens do exist, and he's been looking at the stars every night and trying to find ways to have the aliens show up again just like that night. Well, they do end up showing up, but not because of him, but because they saw a commercial for some type of cleaning product, and they thought the message from the transmission from Earth was for them, so they thought they have to go to Earth or else the world will end if they don't get this product. It's a weird idea.
Yes, it is. And part of the reason we're finding out about it is because it was distributed by 20th Century Fox, Disney now,
Yes.
and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, here we go.
So, this movie runs about 86 minutes. No idea of what it took to make it. That's kept secret.
Right.
But it did earn over $12 million worldwide.
Right.
But the reviews for it were really negative. And Rotten Tomatoes, who's still rotten, gave it a pool rating of 24%. And Metacritic only gave it 46%. So it didn't really get many good reviews at all.
No, it didn't.
Now, we'll tell you, it's not an earth-shattering movie. It's not one you're going to walk away and go, that was so great.
Right.
I'm going to remember it. I got to tell everyone to watch it. But if you're looking for something just to watch this fun, pass the time, and different that you haven't seen by a production company that you are not familiar with, then this would be the movie to watch.
Exactly. And for what it's worth, when we watched it, yeah, it can be a little slow at times. It definitely has its flaws. But really, when you get past the flaws, it is a fun and entertaining movie. It's not one of the best things or an underrated gem or those types of films we tend to find and end up really loving. But it's something that was at least different for itself. It wasn't trying to copy any other movie. That shouldn't even reference really any other movie out there or E.T. or sci-fi films. It really did try to be its own thing. And the premise is at least a little unique. They didn't come because of this guy or any even importance, but they just came because of commercial they happened to get. It is at least funny.
Yes. And the animation looks really good.
Yes, it does.
And I guess those production companies, maybe they had a connection with a studio that got quality animators, because it looks really good.
Yeah, it does. It's very well animated. Usually when you have these types of movies, they look a little bit low budget, or they reek of we wanted to go cheap on this, so here's it vaguely looking like something of a character. It actually looks good, and they don't try to do anything extravagant, but they at least try to be a little creative with the aliens and make them look like they're not from Earth.
It reminds me when you said the dad has seen aliens and was a kid, he spent his life. It reminds me of X-Files.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right.
Because he seen aliens and he saw aliens kidnap his sister when he was a kid. And that reminds me of X-Files.
Oh
Maybe
my
that
gosh.
inspired this movie.
Oh, that's a good point.
The main character, Lewis, he's not memorable. He doesn't stick out. He doesn't do anything outstanding till maybe toward the last third of the movie.
Right.
He kind of just tries to blend in, and he reluctantly follows the trail that ends up appearing before him.
Right.
Telling him about the aliens. If you see the aliens, well, they kind of remind you of the ones, at least to me, from Toy Story.
Yeah, that's true. And it keeps at least that vibe going where it's something. It really is a family film.
It is.
They make
definitely.
a few jokes here and there, and maybe one gross out joke, but it stays pretty family friendly. The scariest it can get is towards the end, where they actually have a interesting plot twist when it gets to. We won't spoil in case you end up watching it, but they actually do have a pretty good twist towards the end.
Definitely.
And another pretty interesting aspect is that they have a Lewis's teacher, I believe, who looks like she works for the government or something, because she gets suspicious about him and she's tracking the aliens too. And what ends up coming to head towards the end is that, at first she's kind of inspecting him to make sure he's staying in line. But as the movie goes on, she's also looking for the aliens, and it's actually very subtly shown without telling you straight up that she's looking for the aliens, because she's got these machines and gadgets and things that are used to track alien activity and things, and she doesn't tell anybody, but you kind of end up figuring out she is looking for them for whatever reason.
Yes. And they've got some weird names for different devices they use.
Yeah.
And as far as the voice cast, unfortunately, there's only one we're familiar with, Will Forte.
That's
we'll
it,
go over
yeah.
the voice cast quickly. But again, if you're looking for something to watch that's just fun, this is it. It should be available for free on Tubi and Pluto.
Yeah,
and
it
other
should be,
places on
because
demand.
it's one of those types of movies you would see on those services.
Now, I have to say, the voice cast, even though we don't know them, they did an excellent job. The kid is a kid. We're really
Yes.
happy to hear that. And there's nothing wrong with this movie. I think it just didn't get enough publicity,
Right.
enough marketing,
Yeah, I
enough
agree.
letting people know about it, because until we just saw it come up, we had never heard of it.
Exactly.
And I think that's how most of the West is in terms of this movie, which is unfortunate, because we've gotten DVDs at the dollar store that were a heck of a lot worse than this.
Exactly.
And this movie definitely should have earned better than a 27%.
Yeah, exactly.
I would give it a B. I really would, based on the voice cast, and their performances,
Yes.
the animation, the storyline being fun, creative, some things you've seen before, not earth-shattering, but entertaining.
Right.
Yeah.
And you will enjoy it. And like you say, it's a little slow at once or twice, but when it gets going with the comedy, it really gets going, because it can be just pretty hilarious.
Definitely. So quickly, we'll give a shout out to the voice cast.
All right.
Callum Maloney as Louis Sontag, Dermot McGinnis
Okay.
as Armin, his dad, and Wabo. Ian Coppinger as Mog. These are the alien names.
Okay.
Paul Tillich as Mr. Winter, Ice Cream Man, and Bill. Will Forte as Nog. Lucy Carolyn as Jennifer Yang. Ian Daly as Marlon Winter. Eileen Mathan as Mrs. Winter. Valentina and Mrs. Dinkendocker. Yes, that's her name.
Oh my
And
god.
Simon Toll as the principal. So you can see it had a very short voice cast. And
Yeah.
it probably didn't take a lot of money to pay them. Making the movie, looking at the animation, we don't know the
What was
rates,
the budget?
right? What the costs are in Germany versus doing in Western countries like
Right.
the UK and the US. But again, it's really a fun movie. We do recommend you watch it if you can find
Yeah.
it. Now, if
we
you
do.
happen to have seen Louie and the Aliens, let us know in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you see it when it originally came out in 2018? Or did you watch it on demand for free like we did recently? Let us know. If you haven't, I think it's Lewis and the Aliens. I'm sorry, I said that earlier. Give it a watch, come back, and tell us what you think.
Yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, weekly videos, and your favorite anime shows, animated series, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Taking time of your summer to have fun with us. As always,
You are special. Thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
And the Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.